हेलो फ्रेंड्स। और अब मैं पढ़ने लगा हूँ 2 घंटे लगातार केमिस्ट्री। और अभी हुए हैं 8:30, शायद नज़र ना आए। और 10:30 तक मैं पढ़ूँगा लगातार। देखते हैं क्या मैं कर पाता हूँ या नहीं। Chemistry is the branch of science which deals with the properties, composition, structure, substances, and chemical composition, structure, substances. It also deals with the physical and chemical change in matter and the laws or principles which govern these changes. Chemistry is the branch of science which deal with the properties, composition, and structure of substances. Chemistry is the branch of science which deals with the properties, composition, and structure of substances. It also deals with the physical and chemical changes in matter. It also deals with the physical and chemical changes in matter and the laws or branch of chemistry. To understand the widely separate complex subject of chemistry and to concentrate on its specific aspects, Chemistry is divided into many distinct branches. These branches have distinct area of study of the scientist to focus on and to achieve breakthroughs and advancements. There are branches. This branch investigates how substances behave at atomic and molecular level. It provides clear explanation as to how fundamental physical laws governing our world cause atoms and molecules to show specific characteristics. The branch investigates how substance behave at atomic and molecular levels. This branch investigates how substances behave at atomic and molecular level. This branch investigates how substances behave at atomic and molecular level. It provides clear explanation also to how fundamental physical laws governing our world cause atoms and molecules to show specific characteristics. The branch investigates how substances behave at atomic and molecular levels. This branch investigates how substances behave at atomic and molecular level. It provides a clear explanation as to how fundamental physical laws governing. This branch investigates how substances and molecules behave at atomic and molecular level. It provides clear explanation as to how fundamental physical laws. In organic chemistry, it is the study of synthesis, composition, properties, and structure of elements and compounds that contain little or no carbon. An inorganic substance can be composed of metals, non-metals. It is the study of the synthesis, composition, properties, and structure of elements and compounds that contain little or no carbon. And inorganic chemistry, it is the study of synthesis, composition, properties, and structure of elements and compounds that contains little or no carbon. An inorganic substance can be composed of metals, non-metals, or a mixture of these salts, acids. Organic chemistry is the branch of chemistry that deals with the carbon compounds other than its simple sort like carbonate, bicarbonates, oxides, carbides. It is the branch of chemistry that deals with the carbon containing methane. It is the It is a branch of chemistry that deals with the carbon containing carbon compounds other than its simple salt like carbonate, bicarbonate, oxide and carbides. इसके बाद है environmental chemistry. It is the scientific study of the chemical and biochemical phenomena PHENOM phenomena that occur in this planet. In this subject, we study the sources, reactions, effects, and fates of chemical species in the air, soil, and water environment. Analytical chemistry. This branch of chemistry deals with the analysis of different substances. It involves separation, identification, and determination of the concentration of the component present in material things. Nowadays, the field of analytical chemistry generally involves the use of modern and sophisticated instruments. It is the scientific study of the chemical and biochemical phenomena that occur in this planet. Biochemistry. It is the branch of chemistry in which we understand life through chemical process. It is the study of chemical substances and vital processes occurring in living organisms. Biochemistry provides into structure and function of molecules such as protein, carbonates, or carbonates. Nuclear chemistry deals with the reaction taking place in the nucleus of an atom. Nuclear chemistry deals with the reaction taking place in the nucleus of an atom. It deals with radioactivity, nuclear process and transformation in the nucleus of atoms. Nuclear chemistry deals with the reaction taking place in the nucleus of an atom. Polymer chemistry. Polymers are large molecules made by linking together a series of building blocks. Polymer chemistry focuses on the properties, structure, and synthesis of polymers and macromolecules. Many materials present in living organisms. Geochemistry. The study of chemical composition of earth and its sources and minerals is called geochemistry. Polymers are large molecules made by linking together a series of building blocks. Polymer chemistry focuses on the properties, structure, and synthesis of polymers and macromolecules. Polymers are large molecules made by linking together a series of building blocks. Medical chemistry. In this branch of chemistry, the chemist tries to design and synthesize medicines or drugs which are beneficial for for mankind. It includes the discovery, delivery, observation, and poison of drugs in human astrophysics. This is the study of molecules and ions occurring in space and interstellar space. In this discipline, we study the abundance and reactions of atoms, molecules, and ions in the universe. Elements. An element is the simplest form of matter. It is pure substance containing the same kind of atoms. The compound. A compound is a pure substance. It is formed by the chemical combination of two or more atoms of different elements. Mixture is an impure compound. Example of matter having more than one type of elements or compound mixed together in any ratio is called a mixture. Each component of a mixture retains its identity and specific properties. It is not possible to break down an element into simpler particles by ordinary chemical reaction. In a compound, the atoms of element must combine together by a fixed ratio by weight. For example, in water, H2O, hydrogen and oxygen are present in a fixed ratio of 1:8 by weight. Each component of a mixture retains its identity and specific properties. When an element exists in the form of atom, it is represented by a symbol. For example, sodium and calcium are symbols Na and Ca. It is possible to break a compound into its constituent elements by a chemical reaction. For example, ammonia can be converted back to nitrogen and hydrogen by a suitable chemical reaction. A mixture may be homogeneous or heterogeneous. For example, the solution of common salt in water is homogeneous mixture, while a sample of rock is a heterogeneous mixture. Gaseous elements exist in the form of independent molecules. For example, nitrogen, oxygen, and chlorine. इसके बाद the properties of compounds are always different from the elements from which it is formed. For example, the properties of water are different from those of hydrogen and oxygen. The components of a mixture are not chemically bonded together and they can be separated by physical methods. The properties of a mixture are the sum of those of its components. Solution, colloidal solution, suspension. A solution is such a mixture in which solute particles are completely homogenized in the solvent. The solution of sodium chloride or copper sulfate in water. The solute particles in such a solution cannot be seen by the naked eye. If solution is filtered, these particles pass through the pores of filter paper, leaving no reside. Such a solution is called a true solution. A suspension, on the other hand, is a mixture in which solute particles do not dissolve in the solvent. We can actually see these particles if a suspension is kept for some time, these particles settle down again. If the suspension is filtered, the particle cannot pass through the pores. Filter paper and can be collected. A mixture of to a solution and a suspension. There is a third form of solution called colloidal solution. In this type, the particles do not homogeneous with solvent. These particles are a little bigger than the solute particles present in true solution. Okay, solute particles are homogenized in solvent, and there is do not homogenize with solvent. These particles are a little greater than particles present in the true solution, but not big enough to see with the naked eye, like the particles present in suspension. If kept for some time, the particles of a colloidal solution do not settle down. On filtration, these particles pass through the filter paper like the particles of a true solution, starch solution, and common example of colloidal solution. Information of sustainable. Take about 100 grams of water in a beaker and add it to it 5 grams of table sugar and stir it. The sugar will dissolve in water. Then add another 5 gram sugar and stir. This will also dissolve. This solution is called an unsaturated solution. A solution which can dissolve more amount of a solute at a particular temperature is called unsaturated solution. True solution is called colloidal solution. In this type, the solute particles do not homogenize the solvent. A solution in which the maximum amount of a solute has been dissolved in a particular amount of a solvent at a particular temperature is called a saturated solution. Different solutions have different solubilities in a particle solvent. Matter is present in ion sign in the state of plasma. Hazard's effect of shopping bags are studied in environmental chemistry. The man-made polymer is a polystyrene, the crystals of which substance has rhombic shape. तो गाइस, जैसे कि लाइट जा चुकी है, लेकिन हम पढ़ते रहेंगे इसी की लाइट से ऐसे करके। केमिस्ट्री उसके बाद आता है विच लिक्विड among of these following is colloidal solution. Milk. Which of the following is heterogeneous mixture? Concrete mixture, liquid crystal, a state of matter whose properties are between those of liquid and crystalline liquid. Colloidal. A solution of KClO3 has a solubility. The solubility will decrease, the solubility will decrease, the solubility will decrease. Atomic structure. Discovery of electrons. A discharge tube is a hard glass tube provided with two metallic electrodes and a vacuum pump to evacuate the gas present in the air. When a very high voltage is applied to a gas at a very low pressure present in a glass tube, the glass surface behind the positive electrodes started to glow due to the rays emitted from the cathode. These rays were named as cathode rays. In 1897, British physicist J. Thomson studied the properties of cathode rays by passing them through the oppositely charged electric plates. It was observed that cathode rays bend towards that cathode rays cathode rays bend towards the positively charged plates, showing that they carry negative charge. Negative charge. Thomas also installed two magnets on either side of the discharge tube and noticed that cathode rays were also diverted by the magnetic field. Thomson used the finding of his experiment to calculate the mass to charge ratio of cathode rays, which finally proved that cathode rays are in fact negatively charged material particles. These particles were later named as electrons. It was also shown that electrons are subatomic of our elements. Discovery of proton. The presence of positively charged particles in an atom had been first observed by E. Goldstein in 1886. It was based on the concept that atoms are electrically neutral, having some number of positive and negative charge. He performed a series of experiments with a gas discharge tube having a perforated cathode. A new type of rays were produced from the anode, which moved towards the cathode. He called these new rays as anode rays. The properties of these rays seem to vary depending on the gas used in the discharge tube. In fact, what he dissolved was gas ions, and this also includes hydrogen ions. Goldstein at the time knew nothing about its significance. In 1917, Rutherford performed experiments which proved that which proved that the hydrogen nucleus is present in other nuclei. Rutherford thought that a hydrogen nucleus or a proton must be the fundamental, also possibly new fundamental particle as well. In 1933, another particle, neutron, was also discovered, which is known as carry no charge. Mass of neutron is almost the same as of the proton, discovered by James Chadwick. These three particles, electron, proton, and neutron, were given the name fundamental particle and are shown to be present in all atoms except in ordinary hydrogen, which does not have any neutron, irrespective of the fact that these atoms behave very different from one another. It was, however, also shown that the number of these particles is different in different atoms. After this discovery of these particles, a very important question arises as to how these are arranged in a tiny place called atom. Oh यार थक गया यार. Bohr's atomic model. In 1913, Niels Bohr proposed a model of the hydrogen atom which is called Bohr's atomic model. According to this model, the electron can revolve in the nucleus of the atom in specific paths called orbit or shells. When the electron is revolving in one of these orbits, its energy is fixed. Also, when the electron is present in the orbit which is closest to the nucleus, its energy is minimum and it is called the ground state of the action. The orbits that are further away from the nucleus posing successful great energy. The electron is not allowed to occupy a space in between the orbits. Since electron present in each shell has a fixed energy, these shells are also named as energy levels. The shell which is nearest to the nucleus is called first shell or K shell, and the electron present in it has a fixed value of energy. The second shell will also be at a definite distance from the nucleus, which will of course the greater than the first shell, and the electrons present in it will also possess greater value of energy. Similar electrons may also be present in the third or higher shells. Each shell is further subdivided into subshell orbits. The number of subshell is present in a shell is equal to the value of n for that shell. For the first shell, n is equal to 1. Here it will therefore have only for the first shell n is equal to 1. It will therefore have only one subshell. Only one subshell. The number of subshells present shall divided into subshell or orbits. Okay, SPD, FK, LMN. According to the modern approach, electrons are large charge clouds and whose location on nucleus cannot be predicted with 100% certainty, although there is a certain probability of finding electrons nucleus. Okay, atomic mass and mass number. Okay, the number of protons present in the atoms of elements is always fixed, and it is called the atomic number. The number of protons. Atomic proton elements. Neutron, proton, atomic number of the element. Atomic number of an element is represented by Z. The number of protons present in an atom is always fixed. It is called atomic number. Atomic number. The atom that can calculate mass number A. The total number of protons and neutrons are present in the total mass of the atom is called a nucleon number or mass number. It represents the mass of electron. Okay. 6 प्रोटॉन और 6 न्यूट्रॉन्स निकालने के लिए हमें एटॉमिक मास ये है ना एटॉमिक मास नंबर एटॉमिक नंबर माइनस एटॉमिक नंबर न्यूट्रॉन आएगा कटा हुआ है रेडियो एक्टिव एसिड भी कटा हुआ है रिलेटिव मास के एवरेज यार थक गया दोस्तों अभी सिर्फ आधा घंटा हुआ है और यकीन माने मैं थक गया हूँ पर करना तो पड़ेगा हम करके रहेंगे relative atomic mass measurement of the relative masses of atom. The unit mass of this scale is 1 divided by 12. 1 of the mass of लाइट आ गई है शुक्र है relative mass measurement of relative mass of atom. The unit mass on this scale is 1/12 of the mass of light isotope of carbon atom. AMU atomic mass unit. and in English chemistry. इसको बाद में पढ़ते हैं, अभी थक गए यार. How many electrons can be accommodated at the most in the third shell? 18. यार electron proton were discovered. थोड़ा ये why have acetals not been shown in the periodic table? All the acetals same atomic numbers. तो ये कट होगा. Now, why do atoms form chemical bond? Atoms have a tendency to decrease the energy this by combining with other atoms. It is a natural phenomenon because it increases the stability of atoms. Atoms have a tendency to decrease the energy. They can do this by combining with other atoms. It is a natural phenomenon because it increases the stability of atoms. How do atoms succeed in lowering their energy? Dipole octet rule was followed by another similar suggestion. कहाँ से बने इसका भी होगा. The chemical bond is a force of attraction between atoms which holds them together in the form of molecules or a compound. A chemical bond is a force of attraction between atoms which holds them together in the form of molecules or a compound. Yeah. Three types of chemical bond: ionic bond, covalent bond, electroden and covalent bond. Ionic bond. This chemical bond is formed as a result of turning electron to lose or gain electrons or electrons to acquire the electronic configuration of the nearest noble gas because this is a more stable electronic structure. For sodium chloride, sodium के 11 और क्लोराइड के 17 हो जाएंगे. इसके अंदर 2 8 electron plus chloride is equal to Na plus minus इसका NaCl plus Na plus Cl minus. An electron from the outermost shell of sodium atom is transferred to the outermost shell of chlorine atom. Record the atomic configuration of the nearest noble gas. So react with the fluorine and bromine to give sodium fluoride and bromide respectively. Ca plus Cl तो ये दो एक दूसरे के साथ जाएंगे. Ca2 plus CaCl2 इसके बाद आ जाता है ये कोवलेंट बॉन्ड ड्यूरिंग द फॉर्मेशन chlorine and bromine. So during the formation of an ionic bond, the atom lower the energy by for the transfers of electrons and thus acquire the electronic configurations of the nearest noble gas. However, it is not the only way by which atoms can lower their energy. Some atom decreases their energy by mutual sharing the electrons. This can be explained as follows. When two atoms approach each other in order to form a bond, they undergo important change in the energy. The electrons belonging to one atom will come under the attractive influence of an aqueous. A covalent bond is therefore a bond formed by the mutual sharing of an electron pair provided by the bonded atoms. This is called a single covalent bond. In some compounds, the atoms share two electrons each to form a double covalent bond, where atoms can share three electrons to form a triple covalent bond. Hydrogen, chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen, उसके बाद H2O, polar and non-polar covalent bond. When a covalent bond is formed between two identical atoms, the shared pair of electrons lies at the middle of the two bonded atoms. This gives rise to a pure covalent bond. They are essentially non-polar in character. For example, covalent bond is in hydrogen and chlorine molecules are non-polar in nature. Contrary to this, when a covalent bond is formed between two non-atoms, the shared pair of electrons bend towards the atom which is more electronegativity. As a result, a partial negative charge is on the less electron. A polar covalent bond is thus formed. For example, in HCl, shared pair of electrons. It is a coordinate covalent bond. Coordinate covalent bond is a type of covalent bond in which the shared electron pair is dominated by one atom only. Is dominated by one electron only. This bond is formed when a species has an electron pair to donate the species. This species donates pairs. It is called a donor, while an arrowhead pointing towards the acceptor respects this type of bond. Hydrozonium ion acid provides proton H plus. When dissolved in water, the proton has an empty outer shell and can accept one of the prepare the electron present in the oxygen atom in water molecule. The result a hydro ion is a form. A reaction between metallic bond. The characteristics shown by metals are very difficult from those of ionic and covalent bond. They such as the presence of different for building properties of metals. Metals usually show metallic metals usually have high melting and boiling points. Metals are good conductors of heat, electricity. Metals are usually hard and heavy. Metals can be made in different shapes by applying pressure. बस इतना बहुत है. Electropositive character of metals. Metals generally have a tendency to lose electrons to form positive ions called cations. This property is called electropositive character of metals. This property is also related to the relativity of the metals. Metals which lose electrons easily are considered more reactive. Alkaline earth metal. On the other hand, lose their outer electron thus they are less electropositive than alkaline. Reaction towards water and halogens are also less vigorous. Aluminium is also high electropositive metal. It reacts readily with mineral acids to form salts and hydrogen. Non-metals have an affinity towards electrons. They tend to gain electrons and become negatively charged ions. Cations. Charge ions and become negatively charged ions called anions. They are therefore named as electronegative. So hydrogen non-metals readily आगे चलो यार. Intermolecular force of attraction. The force of attraction which is present between the molecules of elements and components are named as intermolecular forces of attraction. These attractive forces are generally very weak as compared to the boiling forces between the atoms of substance. Among the three states of matter, the intermolecular force of attraction are Dipole forces of attraction is present between the molecules of a polar compound like HCl. Hydrogen and chlorine attract the shape of electrons between them with different form. This force of attraction of an atom is called its such electronegativity. The bond between chlorine becomes polar. Hydrogen bonding is a special case of dipole forces when hydrogen is bonded to highly electronegative element. Activity values will make the covalent bond highly polar. As a result, strong dipole attraction observed among the molecules. Example H2O. The OH bonds are highly polar due to this strong reactive force are between water molecules. Reactive force present between the molecules of water is called hydrogen bonding. Oxygen. The FFIR carbon stoichiometry यार ओ भाई ओ अभी 1 घंटा भी नहीं हुआ 10 मिनट रहते हैं थक गए हैं लेकिन पढ़ना है stoichiometry is an important concept in chemistry which helps us to calculate of reactants and products by using a balanced chemical equation. It is this conservation of mass which states that matter can either be created or destroyed. Chemical formula elements exist in different forms in this world. There are elements which exist in the atoms. These elements are represented by the symbol alone. For example, NaCl and elements are like to each other. Empirical formula of a compound shows the simplest whole number ratio of atoms present in that compounds. chemical formula by compound in order to write down the formula of an ionic compound. First identify the cations and anions and the number of charges present on them. Finally combine the two ions together to form compound. If you know the name of ionic compound, you can write with its chart and find out how many given electrical loads of compound has. Okay. The symbol of an ion is O. Let us apply chemical formula of compounds. Formula गाइस मैंने कोशिश तो की लेकिन 2 घंटे तो नहीं पढ़ा गया, 1 घंटा तो किया कम से कम। अब चैलेंज तो हार गए, कुछ नहीं होता, थोड़ी देर बाद फिर ट्राई करेंगे। बाय बाय।